What do David Beckham and Michael Jordan have in common besides being sports legends? Let's unravel the mystery on today's topic, David Beckham. Hi, I'm Leah, feeling super curious about today's topic.
And I'm Garrett, ready to dive into the world of sports and surprises. Welcome to Laid Back Learning with Leah and Garrett. Today, we're exploring the fascinating life and legacy of David Beckham, footballer, cultural icon, and business mogul. That's pretty cool, right? I remember trying to bend it like Beckham in my high school soccer days. I kept setting the ball down for a free kick, took that little stutter step, and tried to whip it into the top corner. Never got it quite right, but it taught me how much precision and practice go into those set pieces. That's a restart, like a free kick or a corner where the ball is still, and your technique can really take over. The margin for error is tiny, and Beckham made that margin feel like a runway.
Let's open the book on this. David Beckham was a right midfielder known for long passes, accurate crosses, and those curling free kicks. He spent big chapters at Manchester United in England, Real Madrid in Spain, LA Galaxy in the United States, and Paris Saint-Germain in France. That tour of leagues is part of why he is the only English player to win top-flight league titles in 4 different countries. And later he moved into ownership and leadership, becoming president and co-owner of Inter Miami CF in Major League Soccer and also a co-owner of Salford City in England. When people talk about his set pieces, I sometimes ask, why are they such a big deal?
Set pieces change games because they are controlled moments. A free kick or a corner is like a scripted play in a sport that is usually unscripted. If you can drop a cross exactly onto a teammate's run, or bend a shot over a wall and inside the post, you create goals out of thin air. Beckham turned those restarts into high-percentage chances, and that's why defenders got jumpy every time he stood over the ball. He was also a consistent chance creator in open play, but the dead ball precision made teams plan entire matchups around him.
Okay, here we go. From the top. He grew up in London in a family of passionate Manchester United fans. They even traveled to Old Trafford, United Stadium. As a kid, he served as a United mascot in 1986, which is such a full-circle moment when you think about where he ended up. He played youth football for Ridgeway Rovers and Brimsdown Rovers. At Brimsdown, he was named Under-15 Player of the Year in 1990. He then signed schoolboy terms with Manchester United on his 14th birthday, and later joined as a trainee in 1991 under Eric Harrison, who was the influential youth coach behind United's famous academy group known as Fergie's Fledglings. Fergie's Fledglings were those young players promoted by Sir Alex Ferguson, who was Manchester United's legendary manager. That group included Ryan Giggs, Gary Neville, Phil Neville, Nicky Butt, and Paul Scholes. Together they won the FA Youth Cup in 1992 and then powered the first team to titles. Beckham broke into the senior side, had a loan spell at Preston North End, where he even scored directly from a corner. That's called an Olympico, when the corner kick curves straight into the net. By the mid-90s, he was a regular part of a team that won the Premier League and FA Cup double in 1996 after the famous line that you can't win anything with kids. What a twist.
Then came the moment that made him a household name. In August 1996, he scored from the halfway line against Wimbledon, spotting the keeper off his line and launching a shot that just sailed in. It was audacious. It felt like a magic trick you could measure with a protractor. Soon he took the number 7 shirt at Manchester United. That number had history with legends like George Best and Eric Cantona, and wearing it signaled big expectations. He delivered. In 1999, United won the treble, which is the league, the main domestic cup, and the UEFA Champions League all in one season. In the Champions League final, he played centrally and took both late corners that led to the equalizer and the winner. That night cemented to the idea that his delivery under pressure was elite.
Real talk. After all that, the move to Spain. In 2003, he transferred to Real Madrid, And Florentino Perez, who was Real Madrid's president, was building what people call the Galacticos. That was a strategy of signing global superstars to elevate both sporting success and worldwide brand reach. When he arrived, he chose number 23 to honor Michael Jordan, the basketball icon. That's one big answer to our opening question. He scored early, won the Spanish Super Cup, and became a commercial force on Real's tours, especially in Asia. The team had a glamorous roster, but also a carousel of coaches. Fabio Capello, for example, is a well-known Italian manager who at one point benched Beckham and later brought him back when Beckham proved too effective to ignore.
His time at Real Madrid shows how a star can be both a football solution and a business engine. He racked up assists, he worked, and even when the squad underperformed, his impact on merchandise and media was massive. By 2007, he decided on a new chapter with LA Galaxy in Major League Soccer. MLS even created the designated player rule, which is basically a salary cap exception, letting teams sign a few marquee players on big contracts. The move paid off immediately. Galaxy landed a major shirt sponsorship with Herbalife, new season tickets surged, and there were sold-out suites before he even played a league game. It reshaped MLS economics. That's a league-wide ripple effect from a single signing.
Let's get to the heart of it. He wasn't just a headline in Los Angeles. Injuries slowed his first season, but then the production and leadership arrived. He scored from his own half again in 2008 against Kansas City, which echoed that 1996 masterpiece. During MLS off-seasons, he went on loan to AC Milan. A loan is a temporary transfer to keep match fitness, and AC Milan is one of Italy's historic clubs. In 2010, he suffered a torn Achilles tendon, a devastating injury that ruled him out of the World Cup that year and delayed his return to MLS. Still, he came back strong. In 2011, he helped LA Galaxy win MLS Cup alongside Landon Donovan, who was a U.S. national team legend, and Robbie Keane, an accomplished Irish striker. They repeated the title in 2012, and he wrapped that chapter with a standing ovation.
Balancing that sporting life was a very public personal life. He married Victoria Beckham in 1999. She is a former pop star from the Spice Girls who later became a fashion designer. Their marriage multiplied the attention around every transfer and tour. There were glamorous photo shoots and also tense moments, like a security scare in Spain when an intruder was stopped outside their home. Through it all, he kept producing, which, not gonna lie, is impressive focus. And then the coda to his playing career was Paris Saint-Germain in 2013. He signed a short deal, pledged his entire salary to a local children's charity, won League One, and in his final home match, he assisted from a corner, ending, fittingly, on a signature set piece.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Beyond trophies, he committed to child welfare as a UNICEF ambassador starting in 2005 and later launched The Seven, the David Beckham UNICEF Fund to support vulnerable kids worldwide. And that unique MLS clause he had back in 2007 gave him a fixed-price option to buy an expansion team. That's how Inter Miami CF launched in 2020, with him as president and co-owner. It's a rare case where a player contract became a bridge to club ownership. He also joined his former Manchester United peers in co-owning Salford City, showing that pivot from elite player to builder and executive.
Before we move on, one more hallmark. He became the first British player to reach 100 UEFA Champions League appearances, and he captained England for 6 years, earning 115 caps. A cap is the term for an international appearance. He came close to the biggest individual awards, finishing runner-up for the Ballon d'Or and twice runner-up for FIFA World Player of the Year. Pelé even named him to the FIFA 100 list of great living players. All that, and he still found time to wear the sport like culture. The number 23 at Madrid was a nod to Michael Jordan, and the number 7 at United connected him to that club's lineage. Yeah, that checks out.
Let's not let this one slide by. The 2002 injury controversy. In April 2002, he fractured a metatarsal in his left foot after a tackle by Aldo Duscher, who is an Argentine midfielder, during a Champions League match. The British media speculated about intent because England was set to face Argentina at the World Cup. But here's the thing. There's no conclusive evidence that the tackle was deliberate in that way. It became a narrative storm that swirled around an already high-pressure moment. I kind of question the media's role here. Why amplify a claim that can't really be proven, especially when it affects someone's reputation during recovery?
I hear you. I think sports rivalries pour fuel on those stories. England versus Argentina has deep history, so any incident before a World Cup match gets framed like a subplot in a movie. From a pure football perspective, tackles happen. Sometimes they are mistimed without malice. Without evidence, you are left with a question mark. What I find telling is how Beckham handled the aftermath. He focused on rehab, and by 2002, he had just signed a new Manchester United contract and later kept stacking achievements. He had already absorbed heavy criticism after his 1998 World Cup red card, then came back to help United to the treble. Resilience became part of his brand.
That's close to the heart of it, the durability. The injury story, fair or not, highlights how he lived under a magnifying glass, yet he answered with performance. Real talk, that's hard to do without a steady mindset and a strong support system.
Switching gears just a little, pop culture. In 2007, he landed a Sports Illustrated cover during the LA move, and Adidas ran that football meets football campaign with Reggie Bush, who is a high-profile American football running back. Those moments took him beyond sport diehards and into mainstream culture. His influence stretched into fashion with Victoria, global tours, and branding that turned shirt numbers into symbols. That hits different when an athlete's identity crosses sports and continents.
All right, on to the next, the counterfactual. What if he had chosen Barcelona over Real Madrid in 2003? Barcelona's president at the time, Joan Laporta, was steering a rebuild, and the team soon revolved around Ronaldinho, who is a Brazilian playmaker known for flair and creativity. If Beckham had gone there, the tactical puzzle shifts. His elite crossing and set pieces might have blended with a different style, one leaning on fluid movement and playful improvisation. The commercial story could change too. Barcelona's global merchandise and tours were ramping up, and adding Beckham's brand could have accelerated that curve even more.
Here's another angle to look at. Real Madrid's Galacticos model used star power as both a game plan and a business plan. Beckham fit that template perfectly, and we have evidence that his presence helped drive massive merchandising and media interest. If he had joined Barcelona instead, Real's Asia tours and shirt sales might have looked different, and Barcelona might have gotten a bigger early boost in certain markets. On the field, he probably still racks up assists. Those deliveries are valuable in any system. But narrative-wise, he would not be the 23 of Madrid. The Jordan parallel might not land the same way, and maybe we talk about a different face of that era.
Let's unpack this. Do you think his leadership arc changes if he is at Barcelona instead of Real?
Maybe a little. At Madrid, his professionalism under constant scrutiny, the managerial switches, and his late-season resurgence in 2007 created a redemption thread. At Barcelona, he might have had a smoother tactical fit with a different creative core, but perhaps fewer moments where he had to win back a coach like Fabio Capello. Either path is elite. I just think Madrid gave him that very specific mix of pressure and spotlight that amplified both his football and his brand.
So there's your big picture, an extraordinary career that fused technique, timing, and cultural reach, from number 7 at Manchester United to number 23 at Real Madrid, to transforming MLS and closing the circle in Paris with a title and a charitable gesture.
All right, that ties it up nicely. Stay curious this week. Explore another sports legend, pull on a thread that interests you, and see where it leads. I'm down for that.